Hey, what's going on, everybody? Your boy JC. Everyday Thoughts is in the building. Everybody gather around. Nobody's having a good and blessed day as always. Y'all know what time it is. Your boy JC. Once again, how's everybody doing? Feel free to come in, chime in. I will read your comments as they appear on the screen. So it's a nice topic. We're going to talk about narcissism. What is that? Kind of behaviors. Also about, gaslighting and all that good stuff. So y'all gather around and whatnot. What's going on? DeWanda, what's going on? Jalecia, Joy. What's going on, everybody? Did you get the invite, Joy? Everybody. Oh, hold on 1 second. Trying to bring her on real quick. Oh, Don. Okay. What's going on, Sonya? What's going on, everybody? Hey, waiting on my co-host to join me real quick. Hey, what's going on, Joy? How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Blessed and highly favored. What's going on with you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thanks for having me back.
You are very welcome. The pleasure is all mine. Like I said, our last video, like I said, we had some good points.
Yeah, I enjoyed the last video and I had some great feedback too. People really enjoyed the conversation and having male and female perspectives.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. What's going on, Denise? What's going on, Kimberly? So yeah, just introduce yourself to the people. Tell them about yourself. You know.
Hello. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for the opportunity and the platform. My name is Joy. I'm also known as Pink Girl Teaches. I'm a life and relationship coach, a advocate for childhood sexual assault, as well as narcissistic abuse. That's where I thrive. I love to help people get free and unstuck and live their best lives.
All right. So tonight's topic, we're gonna talk about narcissism. What exactly is that? I know I made about 2 or 3 videos about this. So, what's your take on it? This is something that you do go out there, you do study this. So, what's your take on it?
Yeah. Well, narcissism, we can take a look at the narcissist, the sociopath, and the psychopath. Those are part of the cluster B personality disorders. They're not the only things that make up cluster B personality disorders, but also like codependence, and codependents work hand in hand with the narcissist, sociopath, and psychopath. And between those three different types of people, there are very few and very subtle distinctions between them to know that what's the difference between a narcissist or a psychopath, so on and so forth. But when we're talking about narcissism, there are 9 traits that make up a narcissist. And um, for them to be medically diagnosed as a narcissist, they have to reach 7 of those traits. Now, a lot of us, in fact, all of us will find that we do possess some of those traits. Every last person does. It's just that we don't have all of them or that many working together all at once. Really, behind narcissism, I do believe, of course, it is a spiritual issue, but they're pathologically envious, they're pathologically jealous, they are pathological liars and pathological cheaters. That's really the core of what they do, some of the traits that they exhibit, but they are very they have a grandiose sense of self. Their egos are high. Their egos continually need to be stroked. So when a narcissist is trying to get into a relationship with somebody, they don't just pick anybody. They have to study you. It becomes like they are trying to get a PhD the way that they watch you. Because what the narcissist wants to do is find somebody who is going to, who's going to provide the type of supply that they need. There's different types of narcissistic supply depending on what the individual needs. Now, what happens with a narcissist, and also like a codependent, something happens in childhood that triggers them to form these patterns to protect themselves, or just to cope with life. With your codependent, you're going to see that they will end up they'll end up in self-defeating behaviors, feeling people pleasers, low self-esteem. They don't value themselves, that kind of thing. But our narcissists, they will, become users, manipulators, just to feel like they're in control or to dominate people. And so those are like our main differences between the narcissist and the codependent. So the narcissist is going to study you. You're gonna go out with them. You're gonna talk with them when they first meet you, and you go into the very first stage, which is the idealization, your love bombing phase. This is where they present who you want to be or who you are looking for. So they're going to ask you lots of questions to find out who you are, what you like. And then when you give them these answers, they're going to use those answers now to feed that information back to you. So if I'm being asked, what do I want? Well, I'm looking for a man of integrity, a family man, good character, faithful, honest, dependable, who loves to laugh, can cook, and all of those things, right? They're going to tell me, oh, well, Joy, guess what? I am all of those. And they'll just lead you to believe that that's who they are. They will mirror you. And you end up feeling like, listen, I have met the love of my life the day that we met, heaven touched down on earth, and I have met this wonderful person, when all they are doing is mirroring you so that they can use what they have, what you've told them to hook you in. And once you get hooked, then they're able to get that supply from you. Narcissistic supply can be anything from money, from sex, from clout chasing. Clout chasing, that's another big one, where they want you as arm candy, or whether it's you're an influential person and they feel like you can benefit them, or they can benefit from knowing you. Absolutely, master manipulators. They will use all of that, they'll just do all of those things to get that narcissistic supply from you, and then move you into the other phases of the abuse.
Yeah, also too, you got to talk about gaslighting too.
Well, the gaslighting, that's part of the manipulation. With the gaslighting, it's like gaslighting starts now when we're in the devaluation stage. This is when the narcissist has really let their mask off, and they're not ashamed. They're not worried to show their true colors because they have you. And so what happens is they will do things when they gaslighting you. They're doing things to make you question your reality. And so, what may appear to be blue, they will tell you it's pink, and you're going to be like, but I know this is blue, but you're just going to go with what they say because, they're manipulating you. So with them, they will take you through a cycle of games, and with depends on the person that they are. Some are actually physically abusive. Some will just, they would just milk you for what you can give them, and just do what they can to benefit from you being in their life. And when I say that they are pathological cheaters, you have to understand that these people are very comfortable living double, triple, quadruple lives. They are never, you do have a few number that are faithful, but they are never really faithful. They will have lots of partners because they need to obtain that narcissistic supply for different, for people, and from different, for different things. So what you also have to know is, with the narcissist, they are not able to self-regulate themselves. They do not, they avoid being by themselves and with their conscious at any cost, so that they don't have to deal with those hidden emotions, or their deep-seated pain. And what they will do is they'll project how they're feeling onto you. So if they are, they may tell you, oh, you know what, you kind of you let's just say they have low self-esteem, so they're going to make you question yourself and try to get you down to their level, so that you can now feel like them, and that gives them, I mean, they get off on this, like, that is gratifying to them. That's why they do this. They want to bring you down to their level. And so people will say, well, why do you stay with the narcissist? Why do you continue to engage with them and make yourself available to them? The thing is that the victim becomes trauma bonded to the narcissist. These trauma bonds are formed, and that's that attachment. It's like Stockholm syndrome, like where they're not right for you. You know that you are aware of the gaslighting. Sometimes you're very well aware of the manipulation, and they don't love you and all those things. But the victim is always trying to go back to the love bombing phase, because it's really like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, you feel like, I know this person, and the way they love bomb you and the person they present themselves to be is just amazing, and like really like your soulmate. But when the other person shows up, it becomes really difficult for the victim to really get a hold of what's going on, because you're being love bombed, and then you're discarded. I mean, you're devalued. You're love bombed. You're devalued. But what you got to know is, when the narcissist is devaluing you, they're love bombing somebody else. They are getting their supply together. Um, they're manipulating the next person, or they're just being who they need to be for the other person. Because you, after a little while, you see, the narcissist picks you for specific reasons. They may see that you're a great person, you have good qualities, you're of moral standing, even your spiritual walk. They'll pick you for a variety of reasons, and they really like those reasons, because for them, they feel it becomes an extension of themselves. So you will forever be an extension of a narcissist in their mind, until you decide that's going to end. So what happens is, like, they'll be seeking the other source of supply, and then when they have that person position, they may discard you. The discard, it's usually sudden, and it's sudden. You really don't, oftentimes people don't see it coming, or sometimes you can actually be the one who discards the narcissist, and that causes a narcissistic injury. So then what happens then is that the narcissist now needs to get revenge, because you were never supposed to know who they were. You were never supposed to live your life without them. You were never supposed to flourish without them. And so, they will do things like start a smear campaign, and they may even start a smear campaign while you're together. And that's basically where they begin to talk poorly about you. And sometimes they're doing it with your family, your friends, just so that, when the discard happens, they can go back and say, you see what I told you. And, especially when now you're trying to stand up for yourself and fight for your name and fight for your honor and tell your side of the story. They are there just saying, see, I told you, she's crazy. Told you, you guys have no idea what I've lived through. And you got to understand, they have been doing this their whole lives. So they have perfected their skill. Master manipulators, professional liars, professional victims. And so people will believe them, but you have to, be able to stand your ground. When the narcissist discards you, you got to understand that the discard is never final. They will always come back. They will always come back. They will always come back. It is never over. I have heard from somebody who did not hear from the narcissist for 20 years, and then just shows up like, hey babe, I'm back. Like, who does that? It's never final. It's going to take you saying that, okay, that's it. And it becomes, it's not easy. Breaking up with a narcissist, or breaking free from a narcissist, is so difficult, because first of all, you have been trauma bonded, and that keeps you wanting to go back. And it's really like breaking a heroin addiction. It's the same chemicals that they are releasing in the detoxification period from heroin. And when you're detoxing or coming out of a relationship with the narcissist, are really just the same. And so that's why you see people go back so frequently, because it's you have to do it properly, and you have to be consistent and persistent. No contact, that means let's block them all over social media, block them on your phone, block their emails. Like, listen, for me, I've had my phone number for business purposes, and I've you know and I block, of course I blocked him. But the problem was he was using all types of text apps to call me. And if he wasn't doing that, he was getting other people to call me. So they get their flying monkeys. Those are the ones who assist the narcissist in the abuse. So he was getting all these people to call me too. So I had to be like, hey, enough. You know what? I'm okay. And this is after the fact. This is way down the line, and it's still happening. I feel like it's like, you know what, I have to go ahead and change my number. And it's difficult, especially when it's like you're using it for business, because you can't reach all your clients. And so of course I lost some business, but at the end of the day, I gained some peace. So, you go no contact. If you have children with the narcissist, then you're going to gray wall them. You're going to gray rock them, actually. And that is simply yes and no answers. Don't give them any personal information about yourself. Let your children know that, listen, you talking to your dad, your mom, it's just about what you guys are talking about. Don't share any information about me. And, be boring. Don't be over there trying to elaborate anything and be excited or try to outdo them, because you will always lose. The point is for you to be able to break free so that you can put things in perspective and begin your journey of healing. And you have to give yourself time. It's difficult. You go through all types of emotions. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. Allow yourself to have the highs and the lows, but don't stay there. Put things in perspective for yourself and find out. Ask yourself, why was I comfortable? Why did I allow myself to be taken advantage of by this person? Why, ask yourself the really difficult questions and be willing to tell yourself the truth and be vulnerable so that you can protect yourself. Narcissists love people who have little to no boundaries, who don't respect their own boundaries. You have got to have rock solid boundaries. And the one thing about your boundaries is you have to know that they are not to offend anybody. Some people will take the no contact, for example, and use it as a tool to get revenge with the narcissist. Don't play those games with them. What you put out is what's going to come back to you. Don't play those games, because you will lose every single time. We are not as skilled at manipulation. We're not as skilled at hate and anger as they are. No matter how bad and wicked and tough you think that they are, you are. You just can't do it, and don't engage yourself in that. You will lose. Sometimes you need to get law enforcement on your side. Don't be afraid to go and get restraining orders and that kind of thing. Get a paper trail going if you have to, because, like I told you earlier, there's a thin line between the narcissist and the psychopath and the sociopath, and they will kill. I believe that not every narcissist is a predator or a murderer, but I'll tell you, every murderer, every predator is a narcissist. Then they just grow into the different groups, whether they're psychopath or sociopath, but they are definitely narcissists.
Yeah, like I said, they're just trying to isolate you from your friends, your family. A lot of times, this person
Yep.
may not be good for you, but at the same time, that you're so attached to that person, you're so attached to that person that you just feel like you don't really see all the red flags, and it's kind of hard to really express yourself because people don't are not in your shoes, so they don't see what's inside, what's going on within the game. They see they're only spectators. They're on the bleachers. They're not out there on the court knowing what's going on, the X's and O's. So it always gotta protect yourself. And like I said, you gotta know the red flags and just know when to go. You don't want to stay too long because it's gonna be more damaging to your health. You know.
Yeah, you have to know the red flags. One of the red flags, I would say, or a few of them. One of them is a fast-moving relationships. Narcissists will want to secure you quickly. They want to keep you in a state of confusion or just feeling overwhelmed. So these fast-moving relationships, you have to find a way to slow it down. Sometimes you may feel like, like, okay, like ladies, sometimes, we want a man who is assertive. We want a man who knows that he wants us and wants us to know that he wants us, but you still have to pump the brakes on that. Any man who truly wants you and is serious about you will move the relationship at a certain pace. But if you tell him, listen, I think we're moving too fast, I need you to slow it down, he shouldn't have a problem slowing it down. And he'll slow it down to a point where you are still able to know that he's still interested in me and he's still pursuing me with intention. When it's with the narcissist, they're going to disregard that completely, and they're going to push things along as fast as they can just to just not only just to secure you, but like I said, to keep you in that state of being overwhelmed with emotions and, just everything's happening so fast. Another red flag I would say is they don't like to talk about themselves. They won't really go back into their past or their relationships. Look at how they talk about people in they've been in relationships with. Sometimes they will, every ex who has ever found out the truth about them is gets called all kinds of names, and is a bad person, is an evil person. So if somebody has nothing positive to say about any of their exes, that's another red flag. You got to be mindful of just, is it are they reciprocating? What are you getting out of this? And like, I mean, like real tangible things, not just their time or whatever, but like real tangible things. You just got to be mindful. And sometimes, one thing that a lot of people ignore is when your body starts giving you signals. Sometimes for some people, because really it happens, a lot of people who are involved with them end up with migraines. There's a whole host of sicknesses that people get because you're under so much constant stress. And so, you got to pay attention to those things and really pay attention to how you are feeling, your emotions. You gotta, every now and then do some self analysis. Am I okay? How am I feeling? What's making me feel this way? And does it feel like this person is honoring me or respecting me? Because those are important. And you can't get to the point where somebody else's love means more than your own mental health and your emotional health. I don't know if you heard the story about, there've been two stories in the news lately. One was about the lady who met a guy on Match.com, and within a week she had given him like $80,000, and they were supposed to buy a house or whatever, but he was just using her. He had proposed, she accepted, and they were buying a house. He was an alleged millionaire. And then there was also another one where this lady gave this man $3 million over a period of time. And, she thought he's paying off his debts, he's getting business in order, when the whole time he was building a life with somebody else. You see, that's why you can't go into relationships until you really heal yourself, and you've got to not be afraid to, to have that alone time and deal with your issues. Because I feel like with both those ladies, the root of their problem happened in their childhood, and now they're obviously codependent. They're obviously empaths, but they were using what they had to they were using what they had to keep this man and to satisfy him, and he knew what he was getting, and he, without a doubt, both men in those cases, without a doubt, are narcissists. And a lot of people, I feel like these women were dragged unfairly in social media because of what they did, because children are being murdered because you just feel the need to have somebody because you have that void in you. We've got to heal from our pain. We've got to heal from our limitations so that we can move forward in a healthy manner and really have healthy relationships.
Yeah, that's the thing though. I mean, you need a situation where y'all are both, being healthy, you're both trying to help each other out, but you feel like you're handicapping that you have no kind of voice, no kind of say so. And it's always his way, then, you're in a toxic situation or narcissistic relationship. So, it's all about give and take. Y'all supposed to come together and supposed to be each other's peace and understanding that it's all about setting boundaries and understanding that, y'all are on the same team. It's all about, communication and being willing to be open to and towards each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's got to be reciprocation and respect. You've got to feel like you're loved and that you're valued, but you also have to know that they're genuine, and that comes from knowing yourself and and having your boundaries and your standards, and don't ever lower them. There's no, and nobody has to respect your boundaries. The only person that respects your boundaries is you. You are the one who respects your boundaries. Your boundaries are not there to offend anyone. They're there to protect and to preserve who you currently are, as well as the person that you are becoming. You have got to start talking to your children about this. is because narcissism forms in the early years. You have got to start talking to your children. My kids are like, oh, mommy, really? Here we go again. We're talking about narcissists. Yes, because I need you to understand, this is who they are. This is what they do. Also, teach them about self-love, yourself, about self-love, about boundaries, because that's what's going to keep you from having a relationship with a narcissist. One of the classic examples that I can think of a narcissist is the mother on the cartoon, on Tangled, the one with the Rapunzel, where she steals the baby and she creates a fake reality for this child. And that's what narcissists do. They future fake. They create a fake reality for this. She created a fake reality for this child. She gaslighted the kid when she would say, mother knows best. You can't go out there. The world is bad. Mother knows best, that kind of thing. So that's an example of, a narcissistic mom. And we know, we see them, we interact with them every day. If you work with one, if one of, especially like in the workplace, boundaries and gray rocking, that's what you're gonna have to do to get through. Gray rock it, keep your conversation bland at a minimal, and only talk about the tasks at hand. And even with men, like, you got to be careful, because women are narcissists too. Like, it's not just men who are narcissists, they are narcissistic women too. So she may look good, she may smell great, she may do all the things in the world for you, but she is a psycho. You got to be careful too, because that's when they may use the law against you, and keep children from you, that kind of thing. You've got to take a look at patterns and believe them. And you've got to close the door. The narcissist will never do this. What narcissists do is they have a harem of exes. They keep their exes on a shelf. And you've got to ask yourself, do you want to be shelved? Because they keep all their exes on a shelf, and every now and then they will pull somebody off that shelf to recycle them. That's ex recycling. That's when the narcissist will use an ex to triangulate a current partner, to make them feel jealous, to make them feel like they're important, to make them feel like they're always in need. And so they will do this ex recycling. You will see that they are never. Look at some people that who, some relationships that you may be in, who have questionable, characters, but you see that their lives are a revolving door of their exes. They are never alone. They can't self-reflect, and that's why they can't heal. Because really and truly, there are people, if they truly wanted healing, it'll be a lifelong journey. And and that's a good thing too, because it's going to be full of discovery and learning new tools how to heal and grow in certain areas at different times. But you just really have to pay attention, and don't ignore the red flags. Like, don't ignore them. They're red flags, they are deal breakers.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of it just have to come down to having self love and self respect for yourself. Know who you are. You should be able to be in the room isolated by yourself and be comfortable. You feel like you need to go out, you need to have all this attention, then you're not really ready. You should be able to be in a closed room by yourself for hours and hours, like just reflecting and just loving who you are. And not needing that you need somebody to complete yourself. Because you're completed within yourself. That's also you have your own standards and your own conduct of what you're gonna put up with, you're not gonna put up with, your negotiables, your non-negotiables.
Absolutely.
A lot of times you see a lot of situations where women and also men too. You also get situations where you're with this person, it's no good, because deep down you're not in love with yourself. You're not happy being alone, so you just settle just to say you got a man or just got a woman.
Yes. One thing, we can't say that, we're with somebody and they complete us, because we've got to complete yourself. They may compliment you, but never complete you. You have
Yeah,
got
I
to
mean
be
they
whole
compliment
for
you,
yourself.
but at the same time, though, you
Absolutely.
come out to yourself to make the arrangement to be complete within yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to heal from your past. A lot of people are walking around with a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. People have rejection issues, abandonment issues. They've seen abuse, they've experienced abuse, and we've got to deal with those things. That's where we begin to solve. That's where we can self-reflect. That's where we can learn who we are and value who we are, and then walk in self-love, because you don't love what you don't fully understand. And when it comes to love in itself, you can't love somebody until you love yourself. You can't truly love somebody, you can't receive love until you first love with yourself, and it starts with you. And so it's so important that you get to a healthy point before you move forward.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it could be people that day-to-day basis. They may have a good car, good career. Everything may look
Yeah,
good on the surface, but you never know what's going on. A lot of times, you see a lot of guys and women who commit suicide, depression. So you don't know what's going on the inside. It may look good, the house, the car. You don't know what that person is doing to maintain their lifestyle.
absolutely, absolutely. All of that is important, and it's very true.
Yeah. Like I said, it may look
Yeah.
good, but like at the end of the day, you may not want what they got going on.
Yep. Don't
So they
don't.
may
Yep.
have that
That's
high paying
one of.
job, but it may be real stressful. They have to work all day, every day. And they look good to see what they have on the outside, but you don't know what it takes to maintain the situation.
And they may you and seeing what you're not seeing about yourself, and truly wanting what you have. Sometimes it works like that.
Yeah,
So
like I said, just
yeah.
know who you are. See the red flags, don't gloss over it, and just understanding that you do mean a lot. You just have to reflect and just start loving yourself, start doing stuff for yourself, just trying to branch out your own narrative of who you are as a person. A lot of times we get caught up with these job titles. I'm a plumber, I'm a electrician, but it's like, who are you at the end of the day? And not a lot of people really know who they are outside of like their car, their job, etc.
Yeah. That's so true. You're more than that. You also have to know who you are beyond being a parent, a daughter, a wife. Who are you? What do you stand for? What are your core values and your principles? And it can't always just reflect to you, but what you're able to extend to your community, even.
Yeah,
That's,
and also too,
where we start.
your legacy too. What you're trying to leave behind here once you're gone. Once the book is
Bingo.
closed. So that was all about too. Think about you got the start date, you got the end date, and what's gonna be written between those chapters of your birthday and your death date.
That's what matters.
Exactly.
And that's what matters. And one thing is that's why you have to pursue your healing with passion. You have to be sure that the life that you're living is a good life, and that you're actually living your best life. Not just saying that you're living your best life, but you are actually living your best life, because there's no do-overs. This is it. Like, once this life is over, that is it. You cannot come back and say, I'm going to do this differently. When you're on your deathbed, when you're getting to that place, when you become older, you don't want to look back and say, you know what, I could have, should have done this, or, I should have gone back to school. There's nothing like you're too old to do anything. You're too old when you hit the grave, okay? That's when too old really comes into place, because I can say I'm too old now and still have 40 more years. And then how did I really serve myself if I talked myself out of maybe another 4 more years of school, whatever, You don't know. So you just continue to pursue your dreams and your passions, and be careful about what you do, because what goes around comes around. A lot of people are worried about trying to get revenge on the narcissist that wrecked all this havoc in their lives. Don't even worry about it. Please do not worry about that, because life is already serving them all types of karma. You don't have to see it. You don't have to know about it. You don't need to add to it. The mere fact that they are miserable individuals, because they are. I don't care how much they act or pretend that everything is going well. Listen, they love to act and make you feel jealous. They will post pictures with a bunch of people they don't know on social media. That's why I don't check their social media. Stay off it. They will project all of these for the problem. No yourself. That's why it's so important. So important. So important.
Yeah, have an identity. You know who you are. You know, get away from toxic people,
Yep.
family members, co-workers, anybody. You know, just try to be your own little piece. You know, you be your own sanctity. You know. You know, quit trying to be like the Joneses, because you, like I said, you don't know what they got going on, what they got to do to maintain their lifestyle. So just know who you are, and understand that you are valuable. You do worth a lot, but you just gotta, find that inner self. You know, understanding that, you know, what you're trying to write, what you're writing. You know, your birthday to your death day. You know, what you're writing, what's the story gonna be told about you, what your obituary gonna say. You know, so that's things you just gotta worry about and
Ex-
think about. You know.
exactly. The things that truly matter.
So yeah, the you got anything else to add on?
No, I think I've said a lot. I'm a talker, sorry.
Hey, it's all good. I'm used to it. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah. But
But
thank you
yeah,
so much
yeah,
for
yeah,
having me here and talking about this. It's so important that this message goes out there, that people start getting knowledge. And the crazy thing is the narcissists and stuff follow our videos. They are all over our channels watching what we are saying so that they can perfect their craft. But you have to stay on top of it too and know what they're doing so that you can come back. And once you know how they work, let me tell you, you will always be 10 steps ahead of them. They cannot play you.
yeah. Like, they can't play you. You know who you are. You know your self worth. You can't play you because you know you are. You're not gonna tolerate any kind of BS. You know.
And as difficult as it is to be with one, once you've truly been with one and they've been exposed to you for who they really are, you see them a mile away. And so, it's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to stay away from you and dodge one bullet after another.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
Yeah.
bro, I appreciate you joining me tonight. Like I said, until next time, you know.
You have a good night. Thank you.
All right, thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure y'all check Joy out too, her little podcast too. So check her out. And also, check me out on YouTube, Everyday Thought JC, any kind of debate, discussion. It's a non-judgmental platform. So we talk about whatever it is, what it is. There's no holds bar on this platform. Any kind of topic you want, let me know. Any kind of debate, discussion, let me know so we can chop it up. I said, love all my guests to come on, and everybody have a blessed and safe night. I'm out. Peace.